Welcome back to Everything Whiskey. I'm Callum.
I'm Sam.
Today we're with the Legent Bourbon.
Alrighty, so we're back after Christmas break.
It's probably New Year's actually now.
By the time this comes out, it's like right before New Year's. What is it, 28th or something today? Basically, this is called Legent. It is a bourbon, but there's some interesting things that go along with that.
Yeah.
So this is by what's his name? Fred Noe, Book of Noe line from Jim Beam.
Yeah.
But it's also in a bit of a collaboration with, the whole Suntory Beam ownership, where the head distiller at Suntory, what's his name? Fukuyo. His name. So chief blender Shinji Fukuyo. Obviously didn't get the pronunciation right, but you get the gist. Fred Noe, Shinji Fukuyo. Basically, for a few years they selected barrels of wine-finished bourbon, but then they basically gave the reins to the head distiller at Suntory to blend those barrels of whiskey together. So it's meant to be kind of this collaboration between Japan and Kentucky. It even says so on the cork.
So
Kentucky and Japan.
It is just 100%
It is
bourbon.
just bourbon. But the Japanese kind of like influence is done with the blending by a Japanese master blender.
Because when I bought this, it does on the cork it says Kentucky, Japan.
So there was more of like a
And when I read it, I kind of thought it might have been the two.
like a mix
blended
of two
together.
different kind of whiskies, two from different countries.
Which I thought would have been really interesting, but it's obviously not.
But either way, it's still cool. I guess like with the merging of the two businesses, or Suntory,
Two huge
Suntory being
companies.
I think that doing collaborations between the two countries and making it clear is a cool thing to do. But regardless of there not being any actual Japanese whiskey in this, I still think that the whiskey itself, just like wine finished bourbon, is a cool thing just in itself. So wine finished bourbon blended together by a Japanese master blender.
Yeah.
Basically, that's it. That's what it is.
So it's just base. Well, it's not baseline. It's just like a fancier Jim Beam.
I think it's like I think it's the baseline Jim Beam that's been finished in wine barrels.
Yeah.
So fancy Jim Beam. Should be more complexity.
I don't know if it's because I don't know if it's like the Japan being labelled. I'm getting floral notes like I do in a Japan.
I'm just getting a Japanese ton of sweetness. I'm getting a lot of sweetness. It's like a very sweet, and I guess
Sweet,
floral bourbon.
There is a weird note in it. There's almost ethanol, like that youngish.
It's got like it's got that young kind of tang to it, I guess, but not like in an extreme way.
And it's not abrupt. No, it's just.
It smells very much like a bourbon, but it smells very sweet to me. It's like the predominant note on the nose is that it's a very sweet bourbon.
What was that Australian whiskey that was finished in red wine barrels?
The Starwood, the Nova.
Yeah, I'm getting that kind of the depth of flavour.
But I'm getting way more, obviously, because that's not a bourbon. I'm getting that kind of like the.
Sorry about that.
Jesus, everyone always hoons. I'm getting that kind of fruit forward sweetness from like.
I'm getting that dark, rich kind of not sherry,
not sherry, but
the
fruity
winey
sweetness.
Yeah.
It's not like a sherry fruit sweetness that's that overripened dark, but I'm getting a fruity sweetness.
It does fortified for me.
It's not
almost
for me.
There is caramel and vanilla in this.
Yeah, I'm not getting like juicy apples or anything like I do from a lot of bourbons.
There is a lot of
it's all those dark sweet notes, and then a lot of the barrel bitterness and stuff like that. I'm not quite sure how old this one is. They don't state it. I would assume there's going to be a few years in it, maybe probably like 4.
It's 47. It doesn't smell.
47%. It doesn't smell hot in the slightest. Like I can literally stuff my nose in there and no difference.
I like how it's really vibrant in the nose though.
Yeah.
It's not dull. It's not like
but it is a little
white label. Like that's a bit one-dimensional.
Yeah.
This is obviously
this is a little bit kind of simplistic though in its smell.
Well, that sweetness carries through.
It's very sweet.
Very sweet, yeah. It's like very vanilla. It's like almost that fake vanilla.
Yeah, I'm getting a bunch of nuttiness. Like if you do the Kentucky chew kind of thing.
I'm getting that at the very end, that nuttiness.
It's going really dry actually. The finish is
It's oaky almost.
The finish is like, it's weird. That's weird. It is like a ramp up of sweetness, and then it peaks, and then it drops down to dry. Like any of the dry wood spice now.
I like that.
It's good, yeah.
There's not many bourbons that actually do that. There's not like the
it's not
floral,
like,
fruity sweetness, and then it's like, it's like dry.
No, it's like a dry bourbon or it's
on
a
this.
sweet bourbon or
And
something.
we got the barrel, by the way.
We got the barrel back. Yeah, Jesus. Took us a while, and it was a lot of effort getting up the stairs. We did get the barrel back. I'm
Glad
glad.
broke our backs.
Having
4 flights of stairs.
Yeah,
2, 3. Yeah, 4 flights.
the whatever the hell setup you'd call what we had before was such a pain because it was like
The dirty washing basket with a box.
washing basket with a box and then a book and stuff,
Yeah.
and it was like unstable, and it had to be moved and then taken away and then recentered and stuff. This can just sit there. It's nicer. You don't have to touch it. But yeah, no, I'm glad to have the barrel back.
It's still very dry in my mouth.
Yeah, I'm still getting that nuttiness out of it though.
Go back to the nose. I'm getting more like classic bourbon nose.
Me too.
I'm getting like a bit of cherry now as well.
Yeah, and initially I wasn't getting much cherry, even on the taste, but like I'm a massive fan of cherry bomb bourbons, like the rare breed, wild turkey rare breed kind of bourbons and stuff.
Mussels, anything. Yeah.
This is smelling more rustly, like more kind of not rye, but a bit drier and spicier.
Have we got any high-end Jim Beams? Probably the
Got a few, but they're not really high end.
Probably the small batch is the highest Jim Beam label.
We haven't got any glass up here to compare.
No.
We'll grab
But
some.
the Jim Beam small batch, I think that was finished in port, so it's probably the closest to this.
Yeah, in regards to like wine finish, but from.
But this obviously has a lot more body to it because it's 47, whereas that's only 40%.
Yeah.
Sorry. That still has very nice winey notes, but it kind of falls flat. This is
Go back to the nose, it's getting a bit more winey. The more I taste it, the more like hot and complex and dry. Like the sweetness, like when you become acclimated to the sweetness, it kind of becomes more complex. The first sip was like a lot of sweetness, but now it's like becoming more dry, more nutty notes, a hell of a lot more of the spice, and even like the rye in the mash bill.
Yeah. The more I sip of this, the more it becomes like that bourbon-y classic flavors.
Yeah.
And I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
When the first sip was a bit too sweet for me.
Yeah, definitely too
And
sweet.
it did not taste like a 47. It was like a 40, 43. Just sweetness. But now
it's tasting hotter.
that
It's
cherry
tasting
bomb,
drier.
the oak, the vanilla.
I didn't know when because I've been seeing this for a while. Like it's mass produced, it's everywhere. Kind of like just got dropped on the scene, but in like a huge like amount. Like it's everywhere. And I had no idea it was Jim Beam.
Well, they don't advertise it anyway, do they?
No, I mean on the back and stuff. Like who you look at this and you notice Fred No and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But no, it's not like it's Jim
Jim
Beam or something like that. It's Legent. But I like the bottle design and everything, and I like the idea. I hope that they do eventually kind of get into blending literal Japanese whiskey with bourbon, or a little bit more of the Suntory Beam kind of collaboration. I think if they get even more into it, that could be a really cool idea.
The bourbon might kill it though.
Might be awful, but it would still be interesting.
Or it might be exceptional.
That's what I mean. Like I don't really care. I just want to taste something that I haven't tasted before.
Which
so
is Hibiki Bookers.
A Hibiki Booker blend. Yeah.
Not now.
Definitely not right now. We'll put it in a barrel.
That's what we both thought.
We were like, let's do it. No, I like this. This is a nice, full flavored bourbon. I think once you become like acclimatized to the sweetness and stuff, it becomes more complex. You get more dry notes out of it.
Sure.
It becomes more traditional, quintessential bourbon, but I think at the same time more enjoyable. I think that sweetness is like a barrier to a lot of the levels of complexity to this.
But also when you break through those first barriers of just extreme sweetness, that sweetness also carries it and holds it up through all the barrel.
And this is definitely not like my favorite bourbon or an exceptional bourbon, but it's a damn good bourbon. Like the pricing here, what was it?
It's normally $100.
$100.
We got it for 90.
Yeah.
85, 90.
Yeah.
Which
so
is
it's
still
definitely not cheap, but it's not in the league of like, but where you're like expecting something like seriously good in Australia. It's like the 90, 100 zone is like a good bourbon. And I know that they're pricing it higher because it's a different label and they've got the kind of like the Japanese impact and stuff and a lot of marketing to kind of make it, or not make up for, but justify the pricing and stuff. But I think it's still worth it. I wouldn't. This is not going to be a regular thing that we buy all the time. But if you poured this for me, I said get a bourbon, you pour this, I would be completely fine with it. Like, this is a very enjoyable bourbon.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is nice. This is a nice bourbon. It's relatively down home stretch, but with a few deviations. I would like to try some more, some bourbons with an even greater deviation in the wine finished kind of realm. If you've got any suggestions for that, then feel free. But otherwise, yeah, let us know your experience with the Legent, if you like it, if you hate it. But otherwise, yeah, if you like this episode of Everything Whiskey, leave us a like and see future episodes from us. Maybe consider hitting that subscribe button. If you do, we'll see you next one.
Cheers.